In today's world, especially with the rise of social media and digital platforms, encountering negativity is almost inevitable. I'm sure you've seen it, people spreading hate, making baseless comments, and forming opinions about others without any real knowledge of them. I want to share my thoughts on this, particularly about my own detractors. The moment someone gains even a small following or influence, there will always be those who criticize. It's almost a rule of life. You will find people who do not know you, who have never shared a conversation with you, who have not even been in the same space as you, yet they will have the loudest opinions. Some of them may never have even breathed the same air within a 5-kilometer radius of you, yet they speak as if they have studied your life inside out. They form conclusions based on nothing substantial, and they spread negativity without hesitation. But here's something I have learned over the years: I love them all. Every single one of them. Without exception. Yes, you heard that right. And do you know why? Because I sincerely pray that Allah grants them ease, peace, and paradise. If their hearts find comfort, maybe, just maybe, they will stop spreading negativity. You see, many times, hatred does not come from a place of righteousness or genuine concern. It often stems from a personal struggle, from internal pain, from unresolved issues within a person's life. People who find themselves in chaos, who are experiencing discontent or emotional turmoil, sometimes find relief in attacking others. Perhaps they are burdened by financial stress, personal dissatisfaction, or loneliness. When they see someone who appears happy, someone whose life seems to be going well, their frustration turns outward. They begin to compare their circumstances with yours. Perhaps you have a loving spouse, beautiful children, or a peaceful household, things they wish for but do not have. And instead of working on their own situation, they lash out at you. This brings me to an important lesson: never flaunt your blessings. Islam teaches us humility for a reason. It is not from the character of a believer to boast or to showcase wealth, beauty, or success in a way that may stir jealousy in others. The Prophet Muhammad warned against this because jealousy is real. It exists within human nature. Sometimes people think they are showing something harmless, a branded bag, an expensive watch, an exotic vacation, but they do not realize the impact it has on those who are struggling. And the irony is, sometimes what they are showing off is not even real. Someone might flaunt an expensive designer bag, but in reality it is just a cheap imitation. Yet, others see it and feel envious over something that is not even genuine. Some people even use digital filters and editing apps to make it appear as if they own luxurious items. Imagine people becoming jealous over an illusion. This is why we must be careful. I'm not saying that having nice things is wrong. If Allah has blessed you with wealth, and you can afford a luxurious lifestyle while fulfilling your obligations such as paying zakat, giving charity, and being grateful, then it is permissible. But be mindful. Do not flash your wealth in a way that stirs resentment. There's a difference between enjoying what Allah has given you and deliberately parading it for attention. We live in a time when financial struggles are widespread. Even though many people's incomes have increased over the years, the cost of living has skyrocketed. It has become difficult for families to afford even basic necessities. So, when someone constantly posts pictures of extravagant meals, lavish vacations, or expensive purchases, what message does that send? It creates division rather than unity. It fosters feelings of inadequacy rather than community. Instead of bringing people together, it builds invisible walls between those who have and those who do not. Unless your work requires it, like being a food critic or a professional reviewer, there is little benefit in constantly showcasing your luxuries. And even then, there should be a level of responsibility. We must ask ourselves, am I contributing to the problem or helping to solve it? Another lesson I have learned in life is the importance of patience and sacrifice. Whether it is in our personal relationships, our work, or our community, we must be willing to put in the effort. Life is full of challenges. It is easy to say, I give up, but true strength lies in persistence. However, there is also wisdom in knowing your limits. Islam does not demand that we endure endless suffering. If you have tried, If you have given your best for years, and you find that a situation is damaging your mental and emotional well-being, then stepping away is not a failure, it is a necessity. Whether in a workplace, a relationship, or any aspect of life, if something is truly harming you beyond what you can bear, you are not wrong for seeking relief. Allah does not burden a soul beyond its capacity. In our interactions, we must also learn to be less argumentative. Many of us are naturally intelligent and opinionated, but there is a difference between engaging in meaningful discussion and arguing for the sake of being right. Sometimes it is better to let things go. Not every conversation needs to turn into a debate. When I was younger, I used to argue quite a bit, but over time I realized that not every battle is worth fighting. If a topic is insignificant, just smile and move on. You might know that what the other person is saying is completely incorrect, but is it really worth the energy to argue? Sometimes it is better to let people have their moment, especially if the matter is trivial. That being said, there are times when it is important to speak up, but even then, it should be done with wisdom. Instead of forcing your opinion, you can present it in a way that invites thought. Instead of telling someone outright that they are wrong, ask them to consider another perspective. A simple shift in approach can turn a potential argument into a productive conversation. Another crucial lesson is the value of respecting people regardless of their status or occupation. Sometimes those whom society looks down upon are the very people who will come to our aid when we need them most. We should never take for granted those who work hard in difficult jobs, those who contribute to our communities in ways we do not always see. In many parts of the world, people live in high-rise buildings yet do not even know their own neighbors. We have become so disconnected that even a simple greeting feels unfamiliar. But small gestures like a nod, a smile, or a kind word can make a huge difference. These small acts of kindness create bonds within a community. Finally, I want to emphasize the importance of self-reflection. Ask yourself, am I contributing to goodness or am I causing harm? Am I building my family, my community, and my society, or am I tearing them down? Avoid backbiting. If you must speak about someone behind their back, let it be something good. And if you have a problem with someone, address it with them directly in a respectful manner. Do not engage in gossip, for it only brings destruction. One of the greatest marks of maturity is the ability to accept correction. If someone points out a mistake, do not be defensive. Listen. Not everyone will correct you in a pleasant way, but if the criticism is valid, take it as an opportunity to grow. The people who succeed in life are those who are open to improvement. As a community, we must learn to uplift one another instead of tearing each other down. When difficulties arise, do not waste time questioning why others are not helping. Ask yourself what you can do. Each of us has a unique capacity and we should use it for good. May Allah grant us wisdom, patience, and the ability to be sources of positivity in the lives of others. May we learn to think deeply before we act, to be mindful of our words and actions, and to build stronger, more united communities. Ameen. One of the biggest challenges in life is dealing with negativity. No matter how good you are, no matter how sincere your intentions may be, there will always be people who misunderstand you, who criticize you, and who dislike you for reasons beyond your control. This is the reality of human nature. The question is not whether you will face negativity, the question is how you will respond to it. Some people waste their energy trying to change the opinions of their critics. They constantly defend themselves, explain themselves, and try to win the approval of those who have already decided to dislike them. But here's an important truth. Not everyone will like you, and that's okay. You are not responsible for changing the hearts of those who refuse to see the good in you. Instead of focusing on the negativity, channel your energy into something productive. Let your actions speak louder than words. If you spend your time proving your sincerity, your character will naturally shine through. If someone falsely accuses you, do not panic. Continue to do what is right. Over time, the truth will always reveal itself. Allah knows what is in your heart, and His judgment is far more important than the opinions of people. This is why we must develop inner peace. A person who is at peace within themselves will not be shaken by the noise of the world. They will not let the negativity of others control their emotions. The stronger your connection with Allah, the less you will care about baseless criticism. Now, let's talk about relationships, whether it's family, friends, or even colleagues. A major problem in many relationships is the lack of emotional intelligence. People react based on emotions instead of wisdom. How often do we see conflicts that could have been avoided if only one person had paused, taken a deep breath, and responded with patience? Islam teaches us to control our anger. The Prophet Muhammad emphasized this repeatedly. He said, "The strong man is not the one who wrestles others to the ground. Rather, the strong man is the one who controls himself when he is angry." Think about how many relationships have been broken simply because someone spoke in anger. A single moment of rage can destroy years of love and trust. A single reckless statement can cause pain that lasts a lifetime. This is why we must train ourselves to pause before we react. If someone offends you, ask yourself, is my response going to improve the situation or make it worse? If you feel anger rising, step away. Make wudu, pray 2 rakas, or simply take a deep breath and delay your reaction. This small habit can save you from so much regret. Now, let's address another key issue, comparison. One of the biggest sources of unhappiness in the modern world is the habit of comparing ourselves to others. Social media has intensified this problem. People spend hours scrolling through the lives of others, looking at carefully curated photos of vacations, wealth, and luxury. But here's the reality. What you see online is not always real. People only share the best parts of their lives. You see the happy moments, the expensive cars, the perfect families, but you don't see the struggles behind the scenes. You don't see the debts, the sleepless nights, the arguments, the insecurities. You only see what they choose to show you. And yet, many people allow themselves to feel miserable over a fantasy. Islam teaches us to be content with what we have. The Prophet advised us to look at those who have less than us, not those who have more, because this will help us appreciate our own blessings. True happiness does not come from material wealth, it comes from gratitude. The next time you feel envious of someone, remind yourself, Allah has given me exactly what I need. Your journey is unique. Your test is different from theirs. Instead of focusing on what others have, focus on making the most of what Allah has given you. Now, let's discuss community building. One of the greatest tragedies of our time is the breakdown of community spirit. In previous generations, people knew their neighbors, supported each other, and had strong social bonds. Today, we live in a time where people can live next to each other for years without even knowing each other's names. Community is not just about physical proximity, it's about connection. It's about being there for one another, offering support, and creating an environment where people feel safe and valued. The Prophet Muhammad taught us that the best of people are those who are most beneficial to others. If you want to be truly successful in life, do not measure your success by how much you own, measure it by how much you give. Ask yourself, what am I doing for my community? Am I helping the needy? Am I a source of comfort for those around me? Am I spreading positivity or am I adding to the negativity? Every single one of us has the power to make a difference, no matter how small. If you have knowledge, share it. If you have wealth, give in charity. If you have time, volunteer. Even a simple smile, a kind word, or a small act of generosity can have a huge impact. Never underestimate the power of small, consistent acts of kindness. Let's talk about criticism. How do you handle it when someone corrects you? The natural reaction for many people is to become defensive. We immediately try to justify ourselves or dismiss the correction. But the truth is, the only way to grow is to be open to feedback. No one is perfect. We all have flaws. But the difference between those who succeed and those who remain stagnant is the willingness to improve. If someone gives you advice, do not let your ego get in the way. Even if their tone is harsh, focus on the message rather than the delivery. Ask yourself, is there any truth in what they are saying? Can I use this to become a better person? And finally, let's talk about sincerity. Whatever you do in life, do it with sincerity. Whether you are helping others, worshiping Allah, or simply living your daily life, make sure your intentions are pure. If you are doing good just for the sake of praise, your efforts will not bring true fulfillment. But if you do good purely for the sake of Allah, then even the smallest act will be counted as a great reward. At the end of the day, life is short. We do not know how much time we have left. Do not waste it on grudges, negativity, or things that do not bring you closer to Allah. Focus on your purpose. Strengthen your connection with your Creator. Be kind to those around you. And leave behind a legacy that will benefit you in this life and the next. May Allah grant us all wisdom, patience, and the ability to live lives filled with sincerity, kindness, and gratitude. May He protect us from negativity and guide us toward what is good. Ameen.